Justice and peace to each and every one of you. If you've already listened and watched a post that I've given a couple of days ago regarding Billy Littleton in Tennessee, he is responsible for his own actions as a deputy. And his actions that he spoke out of his mouth as a deputy, sworn in, targeted a particular group of people. And these people happen to look like me, what many consider black. This deputy was off duty in the back seat of a vehicle, a woman driving the vehicle, and this deputy yelled out the racial slur of that special word that should never be uttered out of the mouth of anyone, and certainly not a deputy or an officer, the N-word, loud and proud. And the laughter of that young lady who drove the car thought it was funny. And this kind of hatred is beyond the language of what he spoke out of his mouth. Actions go behind such hatred that spews out of the mouth of an individual such as Deputy Littleton. And the language that he spoke extends to something deeper that's carried out with evil intentions and actions from the word that has been produced, thought of, and carried out by his ancestors for hundreds of years that have hung, slain, beaten, killed, murdered people of a particular color that we consider to be black, which I represent. And this deputy has been a deputy for 8 years. And I'm going to give you kingdom insight on today regarding wickedness of this nature and under the leadership of Tommy Jones, the sheriff, who did nothing but allowed this deputy to maintain his status as a deputy, and only package things up in a way to just please the public, but keeping a terrorist who acknowledges that he is a terrorist, who has hate and has evil intentions towards black people in Monroe County, is enough for that deputy to no longer be a deputy or a police officer anywhere in this country. That deputy should have been made an example, but he is the example in a way that produces more terrorists to conduct themselves in manners and target black people in Monroe County in Tennessee, as we have seen black people targeted by racist terrorists who have that uniform on and have killed innocent, unarmed citizens who are black, who they look upon as that N-word, and has slain many women, men, boys, and girls, and carried out their actions in that manner because of that same language that Chief Jones says is not supported by that department, if it is not supported by that department, it is a lie, because he has kept the support of a deputy who supports the N-word and the hatred and actions that goes about behind that word. He's not deputy. And that deputy must go, and Tommy Jones, the sheriff of Monroe County in Tennessee, must go and turn in their badges and leave the department forever. Those of you in Tennessee, those of you church members, citizens who believe in justice in Tennessee, Monroe County, cannot allow this deputy terrorist to keep his employment, neither Sheriff Jones to maintain his leadership as a sheriff by supporting and keeping a deputy terrorist on that department. Is an indication, without saying, that he is in support of his deputies to conduct themselves in a manner to target black people in that area. And I wonder, within the 8 years of Deputy Littleton, what kind of actions in his record towards black people, what kind of arrests has he made? Were they lawful? Was it just? Did it carry the weight of justice with that badge that he has towards blacks in that area? What is the track record of Deputy Littleton in the 8 years that he has served towards black people whom he has terrorized with his language, and more than likely than not carried out much evil intentions in his encounters with black people in Monroe County? The NAACP of Tennessee, or in that area, where are you? Can you DM me? Can we discuss? Citizens there, we need to come together now. DM me. Let's get something rolling to remove Deputy Littleton and Sheriff Jones out of that area. And this needs to be done immediately. Every religious institution in Tennessee, every law-abiding citizen in Tennessee, every individual, every lawyer, every judge, every politician who believes in fair treatment and accountability of police officers to conduct themselves on or off duty is just as important. And how they conduct themselves on duty. Because he was not on duty makes it no excuse for such terrorist behavior and words that has been spewed out of this pile of waste that is polluting the county of Monroe in Tennessee. Deputy Littleton, Sheriff Tommy Jones, is now a pile of manure that is such a stench. Both of you need to be swept together placed in a specialized bag with all of your belongings and thrown away. Because you, Deputy Jones, Sheriff Jones, you say you want to maintain trust. Your trust is trash. Your actions in supporting a terrorist in a uniform who has targeted black people by allowing that terrorist to keep his job, and you put this deputy in what you call racial sensitivity training, is a joke, a pacifier, and babying a grown man made a decision long before he even gave the oath that his hatred towards blacks is evident and has been now exposed, which was hidden. Racial sensitivity training for police officers is a joke. You cannot train someone to be sensitive when hatred and targeting of black people with a uniform on cannot be taught not to do it. If you go into something, it is something that cannot be reversed. So you're putting in place something that should never be in place for an officer. And if it is in place, then what kind of departments is being ran? And we have seen it now. Departments are being controlled by a bunch of terrorists who decide to use their power and authority, and we have seen it far too often, that the innocence of life has been taken by these terrorists over and over and over and over again. And it will keep going over and over and over and over again until we understand that regardless of the color of your skin, when human life has been removed from off this earth because of hatred and racism, white supremacy, and disloyalty, and not allowing citizens to have their day in court, because police officers who have hatred like this deputy has taken lives from citizens who can no longer fight for their justice. And so here am I, and here are you, and here are we together. We must. It is your duty as a human being. It is my duty as a human being, regardless of where we are in this country. When we see acts of injustice, it is our human duty and God-given right within us to stand up and make the actions needed to remove every police officer from their positions, because it is clear, even in this case with Sheriff Jones, who will not remove this pile of waste from the department. Now the whole police department is a terrorist organization because it's now led by a terrorist leader who has allowed a terrorist to stay on the department, so the whole department is tainted. That's how serious it is. And we can't allow it to happen. It cannot be allowed to happen. Now, I cannot go. I have to read this to you for the Kingdom Insight moment. From the Holy Book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 5. It reads, the righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. Though you think, all of you officers who have bad intentions and are wicked from the core of your being, that have hatred and is targeting black people. And if you're not targeting black people, you're targeting anyone whom you can, that you think that you can act and carry yourself not in the manner that you should carry yourself under the oath to protect and serve citizens. You are violating that oath. This is a form of wickedness. You shall not go unpunished, even though you may get away with it here in this earth. Your day in existence beyond this earth shall come. And I suggest and pray and ask God to show forth now more than ever before his power and judgment upon each and every wicked police officer who has harmed and is harming and targeting innocent citizens with their wickedness. And this must stop. There should be no leeway, no kind of forgiveness for this wickedness in law enforcement. Evil and wickedness cannot be swept under the rug of police departments no longer. It is now time, now more than ever before, to come against all racist terrorists who have the uniform anywhere in this country we call America. And the scripture says it, that those who do that which is of justice, of righteousness, you shall be directed in life for the betterment of yourself and of humanity. And when wickedness is in police departments and in the lives of these individuals, it causes disruption, corruption, pain, and agony in the pathways of citizens and communities, as we have seen all over this country, and even at the footsteps of the Capitol Hill. Where officers were beaten by terrorists. And police officers who experience what has never been done before. Do you not know that there are some police officers on that day at the Capitol who committed suicide? because there were terrorists like Billy Littleton who believe in racial hate and killing and bloodshed and death. And there are many who are sweeping what happened on Capitol Hill, like Sheriff Jones is sweeping under the rug what Littleton has done. Police officers could not maintain their life in peace and took their own lives. This is a wickedness that cannot continue